Rahman Rahim. Good morning, everybody. Chief Secretary, distinguished guests on dais. Honestly, I am in an uncomfortable situation because I am speaking in front of very eminent specialists. When I was asked to speak and to address the summit, I asked myself at least two questions: what should I say, and how should I say it? But at the same time, I chose and was happy to come for basically a very good reason. Telangana State has a similarity of views and then of addressing the challenges of climate change the way Morocco does. Because in fact, we all speak about energy, we all speak about how to do it. But it needs a strong political will. And without the strong political will and the vision of the leaders, you cannot go far. It also needs resources. Resources are natural ones, sun, wind, hydro, but at the same funds to make it. But above all, it is what you, me, her, she, he will do which will make a difference. Because you can always bring a horse to water, but you can never make him drink. We have been taught this way. Maybe I will become a little bit conventional because I am speaking on a few things I am not mastering. So if you allow me to read for a while and then provide for you 3 to 4 minutes video, because I think somehow Telangana as well as Morocco should be proud in sharing the experience they have done in the energy. Yes. But honestly, let me start by telling that I am filled with appreciation and then happiness for His Excellency the Chief Minister for his political approach and combating the scourge of modern times, climate change. For me, this approach is as collective as much as it should be individual. The responsibility we all have towards our planets and towards the future generations should not be jeopardized. It is with this perspective in mind that I would like to hail the work and courage and vision of Honorable Chief Minister and the State of Telangana for becoming an unbeatable example to follow to save our planet. I would like you please to have a big round of applause for the State of Telangana, honestly. At least because it's the only state which provides free power 24 hours, 7 days for so many farmers. I heard like 34 lakhs people, it's not an easy thing. And then it's also on the stage of becoming or producing a surplus in energy and electricity. Our efforts and behavior today, and in fact yesterday, will determine the future we want to give to our children. Each country needs to contribute both nationally and internationally to mitigate the disastrous effects of climate change. From floods to scarcity of rains, from exhaustion of water reservoirs to massive deforestation, and unfortunately the negative examples can go on and on. It is bearing this in mind that I would like to use the opportunity and platform to present first how the Kingdom of Morocco has addressed this serious challenge earlier than many of the countries, if not of most of the countries. Second, what we all can do together globally to find a meaningful solution and a practical one. Then third, a small video for the institution which is taking care of the renewable energies in Morocco. As I said at the beginning, following the vision of His Majesty, the King of Morocco, my country has pursued an ambitious energy strategy since the early 2000s when people were not speaking that much of energy and renewables. And when also the renewable sources, but also the means were quite expensive and very high than the traditional and conventional ones. The implementation of this strategy is closely followed and supported personally by His Majesty the King, And Morocco was said to be a champion of climate change. Then COP22, of course, gave us a very serious punch, which we organized in Morocco, and then we ratified, of course, the Paris Agreement among the early countries, and then for doing so. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without wanting to be pessimistic, but structurally I am not. But the global issue of climate change has never been as alarming and serious as it is today. If we speak only where we are, that is the friendly country of the Republic of India, many parts of India have not seen such a delay of monsoons rains in the last 45 to 50 years. It is visible and then we live it. If you go through the newspapers, you would find that some parts and some hospitals in the country, the doctors will have to buy water to undertake the operations. I mean, this is affecting us directly. And for how long can we close our eyes and pretend that we have not started upon a hazardous misadventure? The other unfortunate truth is that the least polluting countries are the most affected by the scourge of climate change. And the most polluting countries are paying for green certifications. This is a new kind of exploitation that is taking place, and we need to adopt a new binding approach. You just cannot pay for what you are doing to harm the climate. We saw a glimpse of optimism when all countries adopted the Paris Agreement of COP21. It brought hope, especially to the most affected countries like the nearby Maldives or the Pacific Island states. But this optimism soon faded when important actors disengaged from an agreement that had been built brick by brick for years. The most polluting countries continue to pursue economic and industrial development, unfortunately, at the expenses of the environment. So how should we find a way out of these challenges? We all in this room are responsible for the way we exploit the wealth of our planet. And we all need to contribute, however minutely, by small behaviors, the way you turn off the taps, the lights to save the present, because it looks very small, but only after all drops can become rivers. We must cooperate globally as well to solve this problem, which brings me to the second part of this speech: how can we together globally find a meaningful solution? It should be stressed that my continent, Africa, is a very disadvantaged continent in terms of energy costs, though it has the highest probably amount of energy in terms of solar. The poorest countries are those that pay the most expensive electricity in the world, those who have from where they can produce. It is not surprising then that many African countries have difficulty in developing also. The emergence of a competitive industry and a strong economy dependent mainly on the cost of energy is why the global focus should be on building the foundations of a sustainable economic development in Africa, given the abundance of the renewable resources there. It is in this perspective that the Moroccan experience in developing renewable energies projects is increasingly requested by our African colleagues and African-friendly friends. Just to give you a simple example, in 2018, the Moroccan Energy Sustainable Energy, which is called commonly known as MAZEN, and the African Development Bank signed a letter of intent to deploy an initiative called Desert to Power in 11 African countries of the Sahel region, one of the most affected countries in terms of water scarcity and also of energy. The objective of the initiative is to support African countries, particularly those in the Sahel, to develop the most appropriate renewable energy technologies to their natural conditions and their specific needs. Morocco's support to the Deserts to Power initiative concerns the whole process of developing solar projects from A to Z. In other words, from the identification and qualification of the sites to the financial closing of the projects. In these countries, which addresses almost 200 million who are suffering from the lack of access to electricity, even though they enjoy some of the best sunshine levels in the world. On the occasion of the visit to India of my minister, that is the Minister of Energy, we managed to sign a memorandum of understanding aimed at laying the foundations for an institutional partnership to promote and consolidate technical cooperation in the field of renewable energies for the interest of both our countries. It concerns training, technical exchange of experience, good practices, and so on. But I mentioned this only to tell you that in the Indo-Moroccan cooperation in energy clearly demonstrates how cooperation between South and South can contribute, or what we call between developing countries, can contribute to ensuring sustainable energy for a better future. Dear friends and colleagues, I would like to emphasize the importance of international and joint initiatives like the International Solar Alliance and its leading role in developing appropriate solutions for ensuring sustainable energy for our future. It started as an ambitious ideal and is steadily gaining greater importance worldwide. Aware of its importance as a strong instrumental in cooperation, this and collective means to realizing the objectives of the International Solar Alliance through funding, research, and capacity building. Morocco is in the phase of officially joining this great initiative launched jointly by France, and India, with the significant support of commitment of the government of India, and then of course under the leadership of the Prime Minister, His Excellency Mr. Modi. I believe, and I am fully confident that both our countries and France can launch joint initiatives and then help into renewing, making our planet a little bit more green by using the energy which already exists and then without exhausting the resources and then the traditional means of energy that we have. I personally believe that if all countries follow the example of India, our future will be much, much better than our present. By acting rationally, we are simply doing justice to our motherland, without which generosity, life would not simply exist. As such, the clean car industry globally should move towards solar and clean cars, not just because it's trendy and economically advantageous, but because it is the need for the future and the realistic approach to combat climate change. Traditions that support the management of resources in oceans, such as savage fishing, and then examples of can go, should be stopped by a global decision. Development should not occur at the cost of sustainability. I repeat it again, development should not occur at the cost of sustainability. We must promote global cooperation and on exchange of expertise and transfer of technology, and make clean energy affordable to all. Morocco has always expressed its readiness to share the best practices. It's already doing so. And once again, I would like to congratulate the state of Telangana for all the incentives and encouraging measures that is taken and will be taken for clean environment, transportation, and energy. Distinguished guests, as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Allow me to conclude by requesting your patience for a few minutes to watch a small video about how the agency in charge of the renewable energy in Morocco is implementing the country's royal vision for a clean and green future. But before that, I have one example to tell you. And then it is also inspiring the example from Telangana. The government of Morocco provides to farmers 80% of the global expenses they have done if they go into green. If they change into what they call drip irrigation. If they also change their manner of doing so. 80% is not a small amount, that if in 100 rupees you will get 80 rupees back. It's really encouraging. It has, for the last few years, changed the face of agriculture, increased productivity, but also gave confidence and trust to the people in their managing leaders. On this positive note, I hope that the small video, 4 minutes, will be ready. Just to give you an idea, because to speak also about Morocco, I will be extensively keeping you all the time, which I don't want to have, and then to be monotonous. Thank you so much for your attention.
Sunlight, wind, water. Morocco is bringing with clean energy sources that are both infinite and renewable. It boasts several wind farms, either under construction or already operational. Most hydraulic plants are operational, and many solar energy projects are at various stages of development. Founded in 2010, Majesty is the company responsible for harnessing Morocco's renewable energy, thus making the kingdom's commitment to clean energy a reality. Before Majesty and the National Office of Electricity and Water Supply, ONE, began their work, these arid plains were completely untouched by human activity. The wind blew through the mountains without turning the blade of a single turbine, and the rivers flowed without encountering any dams. Several studies were carried out to determine which sites offered the best potential for clean energy production. The topography, geology, hydrography, and systemicity of each site were all researched, as well as the potential environmental and social impact of a plant. Majesty's expert teams then researched the best technology for each site, selecting the one that would generate optimum yields and which would best meet the country's electricity needs, as specified by the ONE, Majesty's sole client and partner. The Noor-Ouarzazate project is a multi-technology solar complex, boasting CSP trowels, CSP tower, and photovoltaic. Meanwhile, at Noor-Midelt, the company opted for hybrid technology, combining CSP and photovoltaic in a single plant. Great advantages have been made in energy storage, meaning that the two Ouarzazate power plants are now able to generate electricity for up to 7 hours after the sun has set. For wind farms, Majesty has chosen to pursue onshore projects, which are currently the most competitive. Once these studies were completed, Majesty alongside the ONE mobilized their engineering resources, and thousands of men and women, laborers, technicians, and engineers set to work building the renewable power plants. And so Majesty's projects are gradually taking shape across the untouched Moroccan plains. The company's teams monitor all operations so that the environment, equipment standards and the safety of the plants are ensured at all times. Majesty also builds roads and connection infrastructure for water, electricity and telecommunications, all of which contribute to the region's development. Once these highly efficient power plants become operational, Majesty is responsible for maintaining them. The goal is to maximize operating hours and minimize maintenance downtime. In addition, Majesty regularly carries out meticulous operations of all its equipment and facilities to ensure that the power plants are as long-lasting as the energy sources they are built to harness. Majesty's expert knowledge has earned it a reputation as one of the leading specialists in renewable energy production today. Now Majesty is keen to put their knowledge to work for their partner countries in Africa, where demand for such expertise is high. Majesty is committed to transforming electricity into energy that fuels development. Majesty, endless power for progress.